Let's take just a moment to just talk about the implications elections of the 2024 election. So we touched on this. I just want to make it clear. We have no idea what will happen in 2024. I mean, we live in unprecedented times. So whether we're talking about California elections, whether new tax laws will be repealed or passed, or federal elections that can affect estate and gift taxes massively, we live in unprecedented times. So I just want to make the point that no matter what the economy is like, I think you look back 10, 20 years ago, if the economy was growing at X%, the party in power always seemed to win elections. If it was bad, the party out of power would always win elections. I don't know that we can rely on that anymore. We certainly can't rely on California voters to do anything predictable. No matter what happens, take steps that we know we can take to protect your estate from estate taxes and your home from property taxes. Just want to make that point. Any thoughts you have, Mike, about just the upcoming elections? They terrify a lot of people. I think we have some crazy things happening. But
I'm terrified. I'll say that. It's hard to see a wonderful, perfect outcome. Everything is so complicated. And for our issues today, now one last thing I have to say about Prop 19. There are many who dramatically believe in Prop 19. It's going to dramatically increase local tax revenues, right? So, this is not a criticism of them, but teachers unions and government employee unions are going to love it. And they have a lot of clout and they have a lot of money. They probably work hard to maintain Prop 19, this property tax increase. So,
and the Realtors, the Realtors Association.
The Realtors
also
paid for the marketing to get Prop 19 passed.
I mean, look at how few houses are on the market right now, and Prop 19 is actually already forcing a lot of sales. So without that, there'd be even fewer houses for sale. So, if you're a home buyer and you want to get into the market, you might say, hey, great, Prop 19 will mean more houses on the market. And if you're a realtor, more commissions available. By the way, we have a lot of realtor clients. A lot of them hate Prop 19. So this is not painting a big picture, just the California Realtors Association. Don't rely on voters or Congress to bail you out. Control what you can control. And on that note, let's go to some action steps. What do we need to be aware of? 2024 estate planning action steps, some critical planning steps that we think everybody needs to be aware of, or steps that you have to take. I think as we think about what we need to do in 2024, we need to reframe how we think about estate planning. It should not be a one-off. We see transactional services where you can do all documents online or whatever. Estate planning is not one-off. It's not just creating one document or one set of documents and we're done. There are so many places where you need to have that team of trusted advisors to advise you, to make sure your plan is up to date and to make sure you're making the right moves whether it comes to a big financial decision, a real estate decision, investment decisions. We want to make sure that you're thinking this through with a team of advisors. Ultra high net worth families, billionaire and 100-millionaire families have had integrated teams in place forever. They're called family offices. And we see no reason why you shouldn't build your own family office, whether it's informal and you just have a trusted estate planning attorney and a trusted financial advisor and accountant, and you have them communicate, or on a formal basis. We're actually forming some structured partnerships with financial advisors and some tax advisors. Either way, estate planning is not a one-off thing. It's something that lives and breathes. And we would, of course, love to be part of your team, but I think the key is get expert advice for these big decisions. Why should only ultra high net worth families get expert advice on decisions? That's how the rich get richer. If you consider yourself middle class or upper middle class or whatever, you should have that team. Don't leave it only to the ultra high net worth. And we would love to be part of that. But let's go to some specific actions as well. So I think we want to reframe how we think about this. Estate planning should not be something you shop for based on the cheapest deal. God, good Lord, don't do that. Just as you wouldn't shop for medical advice based on the cheapest deal. But what are some steps we can take right now? And Mike, maybe you and I can both talk about this. I think the first thing is if you, I just want to make this point. If you do not have an estate plan in place, a living trust, power of attorney, advance directive, we have other videos about this and a lot of materials, you need to get one into place. Or has it been many years since you last looked at your estate plan? You did it 5 years, 10 years, 15 years ago, more. You need to take a fresh look. Of course, we can help you with that. So you need to ensure you have that core baseline plan. But Mike, why don't we talk about some other structures and other issues we need to think about?
So many of us think that irrevocable trust is it, and that's the key, and you'll hear that in so many circles. You know that we don't believe that. Fundamental to a comprehensive, effective, protective estate plan is thinking about the next generation. We so often say, don't leave a penny to your kids. Don't leave any money to your kids. Be sophisticated, be smart, leave them to dynasty trusts for the kids who are able. We call them
family protection trusts.
They're awesome. We don't see a good reason not to do them. The protections are from litigation, from the divorce, and avoiding estate tax exposure for the next generation, especially for the grandkids. It just locks in inheritances, saves a small fortune, adds to family security, going back to that sense of insecurity that so many of us are feeling these days. If you happen to have a child or a grandchild who has special needs, a disability, there's a special needs trust. There's a different approach that has to be taken. Again, it has to integrate insurance planning with tax planning, with estate planning. All of these issues and all of these needs have to be dealt with comprehensively. So it isn't just, do you have a trust? It's, do you have an appropriate plan that really reacts to and is consistent with all of your family values and your family goals. So that's why having a meeting, going over these things is essential.
If you're a married couple, the structure of your trust could have hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of tax impact. If you have an old AB trust, it may not be the right choice for you, and changing that structure could potentially save your kids and grandkids hundreds of thousands or more. And if you have a larger estate, maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you need an AB trust and you didn't have it before. So you have to look at that. And do you have the right successor trustees, the right people named in your documents? So in addition to what Mike talked about, there's some tactical things we have to make sure are up to date. Mike, as the 2026 deadline approaches, the cliff, any thoughts here, or Prop 19 issues? How would you think about that?
Well, you don't want to wait for the last minute. Knocking on our door, December 12th, 2025 is not going to do it. Part of the process here is not necessarily taking all of these steps right now, but you have to learn about the options right now. You have to process it. It's a big deal. So you have to think about the use of the tools that are available right now. We talked about the annual exclusion, the way to give away money. I won't get into it now, but there's a wonderful trust for grandkids you can set up. It's called a Crummy Trust. I love it. I call it the grandparents' delight. It's a way to integrate family planning, protecting the grandkids, being tax smart, goes on and on. If you want to keep property in the family, you can't wait. You have to deal with this issue. And the older you are, let's face it, the more important this is. Because it's upon your passing that this tax problem comes to roost for the benefit of the kids. So review your plan, make sure it's up to date, integrate your financial plan. That's the offer that we have, that we're integrating. You got to think about these things. We can help with everything. That's our goal. That's our commitment to you.
Yeah, and when we say integrating, yes, so we have a formal program, but also always happy to chat with your financial advisor to make sure one hand is talking to the other. So we can be part of that team. So I think one thing is, I want us to make sure we overcome the 3Ds, the danger of delay and denial. We hear a lot of people saying, well, we could create a protective trust, but I don't think my kids will ever get divorced. But every marriage is good until it's not. The divorce rates are still 30, 40, 50%, or I'll get to this later. Well, as Mike said, you cannot wait to the last minute. And once taxes go up, they never come back down. Or once you're hit by taxes, you can't take them back. Or I'll live forever. I have a lot of clients who are like in meetings, are like, well, if I die, I'm pretty sure we're all going to eventually kick the bucket. So these issues are going to face your family. Or I already did an estate plan. I did it years ago. Maybe this is your parents, by the way, we're talking about. Maybe you understand how important this is, but your parents, like, I did a trust. I'm good. Well, if it hasn't been looked at in a while, that could be actually worse than anything. Or I don't want to pay for expert guidance. I'll Google it, or I'll use ChatGPT or a new AI tool. Be so careful. Don't rely on that. There are so many mistakes out there. Don't rely on AI for this type of thing, because every situation is different, and nuance is everything in these situations. You can, of course, stay tuned for more webinars. We're going to continue to offer webinars. Subscribe to our Gilfix Law YouTube channel if you haven't. We are, 1,500, 1,600 subscribers now. We're really proud of the growth. But of course, contact us if you'd like to explore this more directly. Just make sure we hope it's with us. Make sure you get expert help on this. You need it. If you want to work with us, we invite you to join our client community. If you're an existing client, come meet with us. Very easy to find us. We're Gilfix and LaPole, gilfix.com. You can contact us at 650-493-8070. We can, of course, review your existing plan, whether you've worked with us previously or not. If you have questions, leave them as comments on YouTube. We'll get to some of those. We'll respond to those. We try to get back to most YouTube questions or comments. Make sure, regardless, though, that you have an expert team of advisors. If you have any assets, you need a great financial advisor who can help you think about these, good accountant, and a great estate planning team. We're building these networks. We would love to be a part of it. But either way, make sure you have it. Don't leave it just to the 0.1% to have those teams. We all can do it. Let's control what we can control in these very uncertain times. As my mom likes to say, I hope everybody's staying safe, sane, and healthy.